this is Call My Bluff with the man whose definitions may well be as bogus as those £50 notes, Frank Muir.
Good evening. Good evening. My first guest is an actress, a delightful and very individual actress, and I'm delighted to introduce you to Anna Massey. And my next guest is a writer and a columnist on the Sunday Times, and it's Godfrey Smith.
And ready as ever to give it the college try, Arthur Marshall.
Good evening. I'm very happy to welcome a newcomer to Call My Bluff, though she is no stranger to television, and it is Sally Magnusson. And delighted to welcome back that admirable actor, Peter Egan.
After the politenesses, the bell rings, and battle is joined with the first word, a bubble boy. Now, you may remember that Frank Muir and his team will define bubble boy 3 different ways. 2 of them are no good, 2 of the definitions. One is the bullseye, and of course that's the part that Arthur and Co try and hit. So, bubble boy to you, Frank.
A bubble boy, as I'm sure you have already guessed, is a nickname. Not the nickname of that curly-haired blonde lad who was painted by Millet for Pear's soap. In fact, not the nickname of a chap at all. It's the nickname of a turkey. Shall I go on?
Yes, go on.
Is it worth proceeding with this
fascinating,
wretched attempt? Well, in East Anglia, they use the nickname Bubble Boy for a very special turkey without whom we'd have no Christmas dinner, because Bubble Boy is the nickname for the stud turkey in the herd. I don't really wish to say any more.
I think you've said quite enough. Yes, indeed, we turn now to Godfrey Smith.
Well, the Bubble Boy, it is slang, as Frank was saying, but it's slightly different from what he was trying to put across to you. It's sailor slang for what the Admiralty Manual of Seamanship call a mooring swivel. Now, you see, if a ship lies at 2 anchors, not just one, there is a risk, as the ship moves in the tide, that the 2 cables become crossed. And to avoid this unfortunate occurrence, they put in a mooring swivel, or bubble boy. It may not be terribly clear to you, but to landlubbers, but it's terribly important to sailors.
Yes. Well, mooring swivel meaning, yes, bubble boy. What does Anna Massey tell us?
Now, in the 18th century, a bubble boy was a necessary accessory in a lady of fashion's boudoir. It, not he, was a case or box made of tortoiseshell or decorated with tortoiseshell and containing the instruments for the lady's beautification. Items like eyebrow tweezers or hair curlers, patches, or even toothpicks. And
Right.
that is a bubble boy.
May I remind you, they say it's a stud turkey, a mooring swivel, whatever that may be, and a vanity box. And so, Arthur?
I can't think a lady's vanity box would be called a bubble boy somehow. I haven't conferred with my chums. Any views, dear?
It has the look of a double bluff about it.
Yes, that may well be. I don't somehow connect it with the lady beautifying herself. This mooring swivel, you tried to make it clear, Godfrey, but really it became even more baffling every second.
Sorry.
Somehow young Frank's East Anglian stud turkey is so awful. I think it's you, Frank.
Young Frank did say it was a stud turkey. True or bluff, he owns up. He has to tell you now. He's got it there. Huh? Yes or no? There it is. Oh, not a thing. Stud turkey indeed. No, one of the other definitions was the true one, which, I wonder, they keep you hanging in suspense. And then, lo,
I knew
you
it.
see, there you are. I heard Sally say it was a double bluff, and yes, she was right, Arthur. But there you are. Guileless as ever. You chose the wrong one. But what it means is a vanity box, or it used to mean in the 18th century or thereabouts. Potto is the next word. Arthur?
Potto is a very, very old rustic game that's played with marrows. Frank, not vegetable marrows, but lumps of wood that are called marrows, about sort of bottle-size shape. And the great thing was to mark out an area and stand about 25 feet away and hurl your pottos into a circle. It's the same principle as bowls, to try and get your 5 pottos as near together as possible. And when I tell you that if you tried to find in a landscape garden Capability Brown, the chances are you'd have great difficulty, because he was a mad keen player of potto. A simple game, but jolly.
Let's now apply to Peter Egan.
Well, potto was a brand of unsized white paper sold by grocers in rolls a yard wide, which Victorians used as protective coverings for kitchen shelves and drawers. It was also popular with brass rubbers, receiving a very clear impression when placed over brass engravings and rubbed with a ball of wax.
Brass rubbers, it's just the emphasis there. No, my mind went off at a complete tangent. Sally, it's your turn.
The potto is probably better known to the likes of David Attenborough and David Bellamy as Peridicticus pot. It's a fast, rather a slow-moving sloth, native, as you probably know, to old Calabar in Africa. Now, it's rather an interesting creature, this potto, because it's got cat-like eyes, but a body shaped rather like a monkey. And I'm sure you'll also be most interested to note that its maxillary ducts open upon the free margin of the sublingual, and I hardly need to explain the significance of that.
You felt the meat of the matter was in that parenthesis.
And I lost it.
Yeah, too bad. The game speeds on. I remind you now, it's paper for shelves and, ordinary purposes. A sloth and a rustic game played with marrows. Frank's choice?
As usual, I utterly dismiss Uncle Arthur's hurling marrows into circles. They're called cheeses, are they? And they're cheeses.
More than my position.
These are called marrows.
And also cheap paper in which the Victorians wrap their cheese. Doesn't seem very likely. On the other hand, there is a potto, isn't there? And there's an Australian variety called the Bosman's potto. And also, I feel that David wouldn't lie. No. Not David Attenborough. Panting a little, he'd tell the truth. So we unanimously, that's an order.
Absolutely.
We are going to choose the potto. I mean, of course, they're all pottos. Going to pieces. Miss Magnusson's animal.
Yeah, she did say that it was a kind of sloth. She must now own up. True or bluff? A bullseye? A veritable bullseye. And accompanied by a lot of peripheral, accurate technical talk on your part, Frank. Going to remember that.
If you've
Well
got
done.
it, flaunt it.
Yeah, well, there you are. Bangalay is what I say next. Godfrey.
Well, I'm very sorry if I have to use a rude word here, and I hope that if there are any delicate people in the audience, they'll forgive me or put their hands over their ears, because what the Oxford English Dictionary says about Bangalay is that it's a bastard Australian mahogany. Now, it's the mahogany, not the Australian, that's the bastard, you understand. But Bangalay is a variety of eucalyptus wood. It's made into imitation mahogany furniture, hence bastard. Forgive me.
Forgiven. Anna.
A Bangalay is a wooden yoke, and it's wider in span than a milkmaid's yoke, and was traditionally used in India for the transportation of heavy goods. Now, in the days of the British Raj, porters at railway stations equipped themselves often with Bangalays and became known as Bangalay wallahs.
Yes. They would really, wouldn't they? Yes. It's Frank's turn now.
In moments of quiet reflection, when time hangs heavy and you're watching a kettle, waiting for it to boil or watching the Eurovision Song Contest or something, your mind has probably strayed as to how they count cattle on the plains of Texas, or rather, how they avoid counting them twice. Because it's a big place. So what they do is, okay, you say, okay, they have a funnel into which they drive them, a barbed wire funnel with a turnstile, and they count them as they go through. But supposing they go around the back and join the queue again, as one did at school. But the Texans have a wheeze, shears, and as the steer, whatever it is, the cow, goes through the turnstile, they snip the tail straight. The tail is a bit droopy, you see. They just cut it straight with the shears, send the thing on its way, saying 2,652,000, you know, and count it. And then they know that a cow with a straight tail has been counted and won't be counted again. And such a cow is called a Bangalore.
You've got to be pretty quick with those snippers as he goes through the turnstile.
No, I could explain fully.
No, don't. No. It's just
an airlock
No.
principle.
Right.
Enough,
No, I think there's a
Frank.
certain skill involved in that operation. Anyway, they say it's imitation mahogany, it's a yoke, and it's an animal with its tail snipped in those circumstances Frank told us at such admirable length. Peter, your choice.
No ideas at all.
I think Frank's definition was so long I forgot what the other two were. The straight tail does seem very improbable. The Bangalore is kind of sort of like on the road to Bangalore. Kind of sounds very kind of Indian. I don't know where Bangalore is. And the bastard Australian mahogany. I think I'm going to go for the most obvious selection, which I think is Anna's.
Well, she said, yes, it was a yoke, and a larger sort of yoke than a milkmaid's. True or bluff, Anna? Must own up. Nothing. Nothing. It was the sincere way she did it. You were fooled there. Who gave the true one? Here it comes. Yay, verily. Yes, indeed. It's the imitation mahogany of which Godfrey spoke. That's what Bangalore is. Let's see what the next word is. It's umtiff. It's like something spelled backwards. Fimtu. No, it's umtiff. Peter Egan will define it.
Well, umtiff is a very ancient verb meaning to adorn, to deck out in finery. Indeed, if Anna won't mind me saying so, she's umtiffed herself with style and elegance this evening. To quote from the early English Psalter of 13 AD, daughters of them semen dight, umtift als likeness of Kirkbright. That's it.
Yes. Esperanto as I live and breathe. Sally, your turn.
An umtif is not, as you may think from the sound, a minor Turkish official. Is actually an extremely important Turkish official. He is, or at least he was, in the heyday of the Ottoman Empire, the chief priest of the Islamic faith. So that as the Archbishop of Canterbury is to the Church of England, as the moderator is to the Kirk, so the umtif is to Islam.
Well, so it may be. Who knows? Arturo, his go.
Umtif is rather a rarity on this programme because it is an adverb. And in medieval peasant speech, it meant obliquely, or sideways, or... Frank, behave yourself, or out of kilter. And it also had an equestrian connotation, meaning to ride astride, as opposed to side saddle.
Splendid, splendid. It means to adorn, to dress yourself up. It's a very major Turkish official, unusually enough on this programme, and it means obliquely. Godfrey's choice.
Yes. Well, I thought that umtif, the first one, the decking out with the Psalter, I don't think the Psalter goes back to 13 AD. Does it, Peter? Are you sure? 1313
I
AD.
think about 1301, I think.
Oh, was it? Oh, 1301.
Yeah, I think he may have left out.
Oh,
yes,
did he leave out a 0 and a 1? All right, well, even 1301, I still think it's a very, very long shot. The trouble with that very important Turk is that, umtif sounds suspiciously like pontiff, and I suspect that that's why it's been put in today. And so, although it's the most improbable adverb and very unusual on this show, as Arthur says, I'm going to plunk for the sideways or astride.
You've plunked. That's most unusual again on this programme. Arthur, you did say true or bluff?
Lo where it comes.
Hey, good. So, nothing to do with all that. Who gave the true definition of umptiff? There it is. Yes. Does indeed mean to adorn, but when he said 13 AD, he may have meant 1300 and something AD, but that won't have altered. They'd have lost anyway, I think. Now, the next word is sen, and Anna, it's your turn.
Now, sen is a fairly cheap, semi-see-through Egyptian cotton gauze. Traditionally, I can't say that word, used in Egypt for mosquito netting or for veils for down-market dancing girls. Now, when it was imported to Britain, it was used for neither of these things, but for wrapping cheddar cheeses whilst they matured.
Right, it's Frank Muir's go now.
A sen is rather jolly, actually. A sen is one of those chaps up an Alp, clad in green leather shorts and green leather waistcoat and a funny hat with a shaving brush in it, reeking of milk chocolate, who summons the cows home by blowing down 20 foot of sewage pipe with a bell at the end.
I knew he'd do it. Yes.
Oh, enough, Frank.
Very
Shut
good.
up.
All the clap, clap, and all the cows come galloping. And not only that, he's commemorated in literature. I need hardly, Arthur, remind you of the lines written by none other than Felicia, Mrs. Felicia Hemans, 1795 to 1835. As you know, wrote those delicious lines, "The stately homes of England." And she wrote these very words: "'Twas night upon the Alps. The Seine's wild horn poured out its last long tone." That was my best voice for reading poetry.
Yes. Godfrey Smith's turn now.
Well, I'm sorry, I have to ask with a little seriousness here because actually, a sen is a very venerable and respected member of the order of Benedictine monks, a very senior man, past middle age, who is accorded certain privileges and one particular duty, namely to visit the cell of a brother who is at odds with the order and to jolly him up in his solitary confinement until he can return to the state of grace. So it is, if you like, a sort of monastic prison officer.
Yeah, well, it's this Swiss herdsman, it's the gauze, and it's the middle-aged monk who acts as a kind of janitor of those who are under duress in the monastery. Sally, your choice.
You think so?
Well,
Well, I'm being advised that it may be Frank.
No.
But it's such a glorious story. I would love it to be Frank, and I love the sound of Felicia Hemans. Never heard of her before, but I dare say she's alive and well in 18, whenever it was. Godfrey, I don't think so. I don't know why I don't think so, but I don't think so.
I'm sorry.
Now, Anna's a wonderfully eccentric story about the semi-see-through gauze that became a wrapping for cheese. And it's so eccentric that I just wonder. Arthur will kill me if it turns out to be Frank.
Go with you. It's your choice, dear.
I'll go for Anna.
Well, she certainly said it was this gauze. True or bluff? Owns up now. Tells you all. Nothing. Let us see whether your first intuition was a correct one. Who knows? We have to know who gave the true definition of sen.
Don't kill her, Arthur. She
Indeed, in spite of the imitation Frank gave, sen is actually the sort of chap on a Swiss Alp who blows the trumpet and brings the cows home. Ballyhoo is the next one, and Sally Magnusson tells you about it.
Ballyhoo is a contraction of Ballahooly, which, as you know, is a village in Southern Ireland in County Clare. And it was, interestingly enough, it was the first of the so-called rotten boroughs to be disenfranchised by the 1832 Reform Bill. And it's because of this that in Irish vernacular it's come to be known as a person of no consequence, very little consequence. It can be contracted sometimes in colloquial speech to who, and so I understand that it's not unknown in some parts of Ireland if a lad misses a very easy goal to be rewarded by the accolade, "Ach ja, who."
Well. Stranger things happen at sea.
Also
Yes.
a pop group, isn't it?
Arthur Marshall's turn.
Come with me, if you will, to New Orleans in the 19th century, and you see a group of people jigging about like mad in the street, and the chances are that they will be dancing the ballyhoo. It's a sort of street dance of a vaguely conga-like. Do you remember those conga lines that used to form?
Yes.
And it's an indeterminate number of people forming a conga line and winding round the streets of New Orleans every now and then going, hoo, hoo.
Why?
Because that's what they do.
And they're easily entertained, I think, probably, yes. Peter's turn now.
Ballyhoo is a two-masted sailing ship that can be seen plying between Bermuda and the West Indies. To a keen mariner's eye like mine, the ballyhoo is unseamanlike in appearance, it having her foremast raked aft and her mainmast raked forward, and furthermore, wearing no topsails at all.
Well, it's a street dance in New Orleans, says Arthur. It's a sailing ship, just described by Peter, and something of no consequence at all. And Anna, it's your choice.
Yes, we do.
Well, I don't know anything about sailing ships, but I'm afraid I don't think you're right, Peter. And I think that the dance sounds a little bit too lively for New Orleans to me.
Yeah.
And somewhere at the back of my mind, the word ballyhoo and Ireland ring two faint little bells. So I'm going to go for Sally.
Yes, well, she did say that. Was she trying to fool you?
I'm
True
so
or bluff?
glad.
Nothing! Now, who gave the true definition of ballyhoo? He's got it there. It's that particular sailing ship. Oh, yes, indeed. Now, the next word is Tyndall, and Frank Muir will tell you.
With greatest of pleasure, Bobby.
Oh, goody.
A tyndall is how you shift how you used to shift a whole lot of deer from place A to place B, because they're very sort of tender and delicate things, you know, and they run away in all directions unless you do it right. So what you do is you form a tyndall, and a tyndall was just simply a semicircle of people, very sort of wide semicircle, not very close together, who are upwind of the deer, and they just move gently towards where they want the deer to go, and the deer happily move off gently in front of the tyndall. Bit boring, but...
I wouldn't say that,
Sorry.
Frank. No, come, you mustn't
Don't
apologise.
invite comment.
Godfrey now.
Well, now, this is a really jolly nice, tasty little thing. It's an old Billingsgate Market measure for that lovely little fish, the sprat. 1 tyndall being equal to 1,000 bushels, no less, of these tiny fish. Now, to save you working it all out, how many sprats it is, I have done the sum for you, and believe it or not, assuming 12 sprats to the pint, as I think we must, then 1 tyndall amounts to no fewer than 768,000 sprats.
Where do they put them, I wonder? However, of course, you might need as many. Who knows? Anna.
Now, tyndall is a variety of crude borax. But by crude, I don't mean vulgar, I mean in its raw state. It's a bluish, white, crystalline substance, rather like anemic demerara sugar. And it's dug up from the shores of dried-up lakes in Persia and it's used as a primitive fertilizer.
Well,
useful.
yes, primitive. Well, it's a primitive fertilizer made out of crude borax. It's a group of stalkers getting the deer to where they want them, and it's a huge measure of sprats, Arthur.
I'm happy to say we're more or less agreed, for better or for worse. I must say, Godfrey, your sprats measure was the most boring thing I've ever had.
Oh, dear. Hard, Arthur. I say, steady on.
It was beautifully done, beautifully executed. Not your fault that sprats
No.
are so boring.
I'm sorry.
And this Persian raw borer, whatever it was, oh dear, I can't think that it's dug up and used as fertilizer. Frank, somehow your deer shifting was so moving, and the semicircle gathering in downwind or upwind or whatever it was, and shoving them along was so touching that this side we go for that.
Has he once again seduced you? Was it a true one or a bluff?
Sorry, dear.
He buttonholes you like the ancient mariner, you know,
Yes.
Arthur. But there, who gave the true definition of Tyndall?
The boy.
Well,
Oh,
it's
dear.
still very boring.
There was a sharp edge to the voice there, Arthur. Didn't like it entirely. But yes, that's what it means. It's a measure of sprats. Comfortable time for our final word, which is trush. And Arthur tells you about it.
A trush is what we call a kneeler in church. Quite a simple one. It's a flagstone covered with matting, several layers of matting, on which it's perfectly comfortable to kneel for quite a long time and say your prayers.
Now, Peter Egan has a go.
A trush is a Herefordshire farmer's term for a bale of hay weighing, when dry, about 56 pounds, which can then be tied together with a hay rope and carried by the average farm labourer.
Fairly swiftly, Sally, if you will. Fairly.
Well, you know these lovely leather armchairs that you associate with libraries and big log fires? They're often studied with trushes, because a trush is, quite simply, it's a short brass nail with a round convex head, which is used as a functional decoration in armchairs, in bellows, even in coffin lids.
Well, they all resisted saying a trush was a bird in Ireland. Well, but I was going down my head. It's a bale of hay, it's a brass nail, and it's a kneeler, Frank.
Sit there thinking up little jokes
No.
while we're talking.
Yeah, I like to stay alert, you know.
Are we quick?
Ish.
Yes, right. Bale of hay sounds too like it. The little nails, we've had lots of little nails before, so I think it's Arthur's flagstone matting.
Right. He said it, Arthur. True or bluff?
Well done.
He's got a bullseye. Unerring. How does he do it? I don't know. But there you are. A trush is a kneeler, just as Arthur described it. And so, therefore, well, the score standing at 6-2. No doubt about it. Frank Muir's team has won. And sportingly bringing up the rear, Arthur Marshall's team. They're spare of thought. And so we'll have another trip to the lumber room of the Oxford English Dictionary next time. Till then, goodbye from Godfrey Smith.
Goodbye.
Peter Egan. Anna Massey. Sally Magnusson. Frank Muir.
Goodbye.
And Arthur Marshall. Goodbye.
Another quiz classic next on BBC4 Famous Names Face the Music.